Here's what we got. Oh, all right. So the idea about this video is we're going to teach Travis picking using a blues progression. Okay, I think it's a really good idea. Now, the basic one that I'm doing that you just heard is what I'm going to. It's going to be the number 3 version, which I'll show you in a second, and it's this. So it's a pattern. Okay, but let's start with number 1. Okay, and number 1, I believe, is the bass only. So if I'm doing this blues progression, okay, it's going to go something like this. Here's my progression of chords. Okay, I've got on the first line E7, A7, E7, E7. On the second line, I've got A7, A7, E7, E7. On the third line, I've got B7, B7, E7, E7. It's a fairly typical 12-bar type blues progression, okay? Not, the most average, but it works really well for this. Okay, now my number 1 positioning that I want to do, and this may be tricky for some people, is just going to be the bass only. Okay, so this is labeled number 1 here, bass only. Now notice on the E chord, it's the open 6th string and the 2nd fret of the 4th string. Okay, all in quarter notes. Now, what's going to happen is I play this with my thumb. Okay, so instead of this, I'm doing this. Now, notice this. So for the E chord, it's like all in quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then when I go to the A chord, I do octaves with the A again. And then back to the E twice. And then I go to the A for 2 measures. Back to the E. Now, if you're following along with the progression that I wrote out, we've just done 2 lines, in other words, 8 bars. Then we go to the last line, to the 9th bar, and we're in the B chord. Now, I would be likely to play like something like this B7. Oh, that's ugly. Hold on a second. B7. Okay? But I'm going to just I'm just going to, with my thumb, and then it resolves to this. So watch how this is going to sound. Okay, not bad, right? I mean, now, you don't really hear the song in it, but it's absolutely essential to be able to play that. Now, we're going to go on to the one labeled number 2. So, see number 2 there? Okay, number 2. It actually appears under 3. So number 2 is on the first beat, it's just the low bass note. And then on the second beat, it's a chord with a thumb, index, and middle. Okay, beats 3 and 4 are the same as beats 1 and 2. So just to review that, it's first beat is thumb on the bass, and then a chord finger picked with the thumb, index, and middle fingers. Definitely you can, if you're really into it, you can rewind it on the video. Okay, so what's that going to sound like? It will sound like this. Sounds a little better. Now notice, on the beginning, on the E chord, I just have the regular old E. So bass, and then this is the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. Now I go to A, A7. There it is. It's not so clear what that is. Okay, but it's a regular A7 chord. Then back to E. Then I like this other A7 where it's sort of like a little bar in the 2nd fret, and then I've got this really cool G on top. Then back to E. Now I could have gone A, and I could have got to E here. Now what's this? This is D7 moved up 2. Then B7. Okay, now I could switch the bass on this. Watch. So it could sound, or I could just keep it. Now, so my advice is definitely keep it simple, okay, for number 2. It's just, whatever's easy. Because you know what? None of this stuff is easy. Travis picking is like you have to play it a million times before you can play it up to speed. Now, number 3. Let's see, where are we? Number 3. There it is. Number 3. Okay, this is the most common one that I do. Okay, number 3. So on the first beat, it's the thumb plays the bass note. On the second beat, it's a quarter note, thumb, index, and middle together. Now, what's different about number 3 is on the third beat, we have eighth notes, thumb, and then the middle finger. You see it in the third position there? And then the last one is on the 4th beat, right on the thumb. Okay, now, truth be told, I have to admit where I learned this from. I got this the way 3 million other people did, right off a Bob Dylan album. Okay, so that kind of ruins my authenticity as a blues guitar player, but I think a lot of us learn Travis picking from Bob Dylan. Okay, so he might have been playing something like something like that, right? It was beautiful. Something like this, okay, but we're using it in blues, so it will sound like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let me review that for a second. It's an E chord. 1, so just the bass note on 1. Then on 2, it's the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings together, thumb, index, and middle. Okay, and then on beat number 3, it's eighth notes, thumb, and middle on the 2nd string. The 4th beat is just the bass note. Just the 2nd fret of the 4th string. So here we have. I mean, if I only had one finger picking pattern to do, might be this one, to be honest, So here's what it's going to sound like. Okay, fast. Pretty cool, right? I mean, definitely. Okay, the 4th one I call the roll. And also, I got that off of some record somewhere, who knows. Number 4. Hello. Okay, number 4. There it is. Now notice on number 4, it's all eighth notes. So it starts off with the thumb on the 6th string, then the middle finger on the 2nd string, then it goes to the thumb on the 4th string, to the index finger on the 3rd string. It might take you a minute to get used to this notation here, okay? All eighth notes. So the idea of this is going to sound like this. thumb, middle, thumb, index. You got this? Hey, a really cool thing, the Spanish guitar players that play flamenco, they practice their finger picking and also their strumming with muting the strings. Now watch this same thing muting the strings. 6, 2, 4, 3. In other words, a 6th string, 2nd string, 4th string, 3rd string. Thumb, middle, thumb, index. It's so important to get the thumb, by the way, to handle both the 6th string and the 4th string. If you're not doing that, don't proceed. The picking is crucial for that. So watch this. No, this is the roll, right? Now with the strings, here's what the whole progression would sound like with the roll, okay? Okay, we like it, right? But you know what? It's way too much. So the roll is really a fill. So imagine I'm going to do, and the roll is number 4. I'm going to do number 3. Now watch this. I'm going to use the roll every other measure. You getting this? So it's like trading ones in a way. 1 of number 3 and then 1 of number 4. Okay, so that's a great idea. Now, by the way, this type of practice, if you're a beginner at finger picking, this could take you months to get this down because this is such a fast pattern. Now, something else I want to point out, in the real traditional style of this by the guys back in the day who did it, you know, before Bob Dylan. So this would be BD, right? Instead of BC, it's BD. These guys didn't really look, I don't think, at that were patterns so much as that it was a bass lick, you know. And I know I've heard this guy, Big Bill Brunzi, play, and you know, it might be something to look up on YouTube, but it's freaking stunningly good guitar player. But anyway, it's like instead of all of this, it's a bass. And so I'm thinking of the bass. Anyway, the idea about that is you want to eventually think outside of the box with it. I think we covered a lot of stuff. I think this was a good video. I hope you enjoy it.